What's shaking, everybody? It's your man Wasted Talent with another Raider Nation Unlimited. This was a special, this is a special episode, man. We got somebody coming through, man, that you're gonna enjoy me talking with today. And it just kind of came at the last minute. So, if who's ever in the chat, do me a favor, man. Tell a friend and tell a friend, share this out. We're gonna have a great conversation tonight, man, with a legend in this game here. I'm just waiting for him to pop up, and then we're gonna get this talking a little Raider football real quick. It's gonna be a little quick hit. I know we've been kind of going hard lately, running a little hard, and it's all good, man. But that's what we do in the offseason, man. We say in the Raider Nation, there is no offseason. It's just time in between Raider football. So what's going on, beautiful people out there? Everybody in the chat, check in. And while you here, do me a favor. You know what I mean? Pay your bar tab. Get wasted with me. Let me know who's all in the place to be. Because we out here, we definitely don't need any dead air right now. But, without further ado, we need to bring up the legend. Mo Moton. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? It's been a long day. A lot of Super Bowl talk. Got NFL honors on right now. Just wrapped up Silver and Black tonight for the show Friday. It's crazy, but I love it.
It's a beautiful thing, right? Media week.
Yeah, everyone's got to talk to the media. Everyone's got to get their quotes out. No, there's no Marshawn Lynch character this year who's just saying, yeah, I'm just there to get, so I don't get fined. But it's fun to get the fans involved and get to ask questions and whatnot. So it's fun.
You know what? It's closer to the game. There's going to be one person. There's always that one outlier. It's going to be somebody that's going to do something stupid. Somebody going to get arrested or something. So it's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to make everybody tune into this Super Bowl, man. But me being the Raider fan that I am, I can't help but to hate on the Los Angeles Rams and hope that they lose in a crushing defeat. So we're still the only team that wins in Los Angeles.
It's funny you say that, though, because I wonder how Raider fans would feel knowing that they lost to the eventual Super Bowl team if the Bengals do pull us off. You could say, look, we took the Bengals down to basically the final play in the fourth quarter, if not for an interception. If Carr maybe throws that ball to Brian Edwards instead of Zay Jones, who's got double, triple covered, maybe they have a chance to win that game. We're having a whole different conversation. So,
oh my God, you know what? I've been fighting this battle. I've been fighting this battle for a long time, man. Like when I saw that play, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was livid, man. I was livid because I saw Darren Waller breaking towards the pylon, and I saw Brian Edwards wide open, man. And those are one of the things. Listen, we love Derek. I don't want to see on my show. I call Derek Carr he who shall not be named. He is the Lord Voldemort on my show because he's such a polarizing figure that once you bring DC up, people start attacking you. It is like if you don't say that he didn't create light and sound and you criticize him a little bit, then people just go crazy on you. And I don't have a bandwidth for that tonight, man. I'm just happy that you tapped in with me, brother. But I wanted to get into this offseason, man. I've called this offseason the Raider Equinox. Tom Brady has retired. They admitted that it was a fumble. Patrick Mahomes and the 49ers lost in the offseason. And we have cap space, and we're building a new regime, and it looks like everything is trending up for the Raiders, man. I mean, what do you think about what's happened so far?
I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic, and I've written articles about mostly the coaching staff. I mean, Josh McDaniels hired, a lot of fans didn't like it. Some fans have now talked themselves into it, but I think as long as he builds those personal relationships within Raiders headquarters, I think he'll be fine because we already know he can do the X's and O's. He can coach an offense. He's did it with Tom Brady. He's did it without Tom Brady. Matt Castle. I was on a previous show. Someone brought out he actually did well with Kyle Orton when he was at Denver. So
yes, he did.
He knows the X's and O's. So I don't doubt that part of him. Again, if he just connects with his players, connects with his coaching staff, builds relationships he needs to, he'll be fine. Now, Patrick Graham, there was a little bit of pushback when I said the high was pretty decent because of, the raw stats say that the Giants defense wasn't that good. But if you take the whole picture of what the Giants team was this past season, the offense was terrible. I mean, they ranked, I believe, 27th in time of possession. So the Giants defense is on the field a lot. They also started off with bad field position. I believe started off on average on their 31-yard line. So now you're on the field a lot and you're working with a short field. And still, their red zone defense was ninth in the league. So that tells you, even with the difficulties, even with the shortcomings of special teams in their offense, he was still able to make the defense a bright spot. So I think there are a lot of reasons for optimism there. I'm a show me person. So I want to see what they're going to do in free agency in the draft, because then that'll tell me what direction his team is headed in as far as the positions they need to fill, as far as the weaknesses that they have. It'll tell me how fast this, I don't want to call it a rebuild, but how fast this retooling is going to happen. They can stay in the playoffs and win more than 10 games.
Yeah, man. I mean, see, for me, what I've seen from all of this was the fact that we are a very emotional fan base, man. You know, like the way people wanted to hold on to Rich Bisaccia, man, was to me a little shameful, and it kind of shows me the lack of knowledge that's floating around, man. Because you got a guy that made him look. He did a great job. I'm not gonna say that Richie didn't do a good job, man. I loved Rich Bisaccia, but it just gets to the point where you have to have a coach that has a damn he has a playbook. The guy doesn't even have a playbook, and everybody was upset that we didn't hire him. And to be honest with you, if the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't, bring him in for an interview, nobody has ever thought about hiring this guy in the 22 years he's been in the National Football League, man. So, it's unbelievable that, we got so butthurt about not bringing Richie B back. You know what I mean? Like, it was, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I just don't understand why everybody was so freaking upset about that.
I kind of get it. Only because you got to understand how many times the Raiders made the playoffs in the last 20 years. And to get to the playoffs and win 10 games, you got to understand, and I'm not dissing the fans when I say this, when you're not used to success and you're not used to a lot of winning in your recent history, once you finally get to the playoffs and you win 10 games, especially what the Raiders have been through this past year, I could see how you can get attached to Rich Bisaccia, say, maybe we should keep this guy around because we actually had success. And I remember there was a quote saying that the reason why the Raiders had been tailing off in the second half of the season the past 2 years under Gruden is because Gruden was grinding them hard.
Yeah.
And they were wearing down late in the season in November after Thanksgiving in December. Rich Bisaccia went the other way around. Wasn't so hard on him, wasn't grinding hard on him too much after Thanksgiving. And that was the difference. And I think that formula, people look at that formula and say, look at what we did. Look at what we've been through. We need to keep that. We need to keep the continuity. What I would say is that once you experience success, and you could apply this to life, once you experience a little bit of success, you can't stay complacent or stagnant. You got to step up a level. You did a certain amount to get to a certain level. Now you got to turn it up a notch to get to the next level. And I think that's what the fans can look forward to and say, okay, now we've upgraded our coach staff. We've upgraded our head coach. We've upgraded our play schemes, and we can do a lot better.
Yes, sir. I mean, to be honest with you, people say that we talked ourselves into the Josh McDaniels hire because there was a lot of rumors around about Jim Harbaugh. But for me, when you really look at the whole picture, you look at all of the years that Josh McDaniels coached over there in New England. And if you look at anybody that's been in the proximity of greatness, being Bill Belichick, out of all of his coaching tree, nobody has spent the amount of time soaking up the game and learning under Bill Belichick's expert tutelage than that man right there. And another reason why I was really high on Josh McDaniels was because, one, he's had another coaching job. So this won't be his first trial and error. He knows where he went wrong. He's had a long time to think about that. Mm-hmm. He's also coached in another organization and done well. He's developed other quarterbacks. And I feel like the simple fact that he's been around the greatest quarterback of all time, he knows what it looks like. He's been around the greatest coach, most likely, of all time. He knows what it looks like. And not for nothing, if he can bring some of the Cheatriot way in here, I am perfectly fine with that. Listen, I want him to take film on everybody in the goddamn league. That's what I want, brother. I want to win, man. I don't want to hear nothing. And what effectively happens is now that we have an offensive mastermind, we have a man that's developed someone else. It removes the excuses out of Derek Carr's way. This is the year, and I believe they're going to give him every chance to succeed. This is the year that he's got to put up a shut up, man. What do you think, man?
It's funny you say that because I just read on The Athletic, Vic Tafu's pretty good Rays reporter. He has some doubts that they even keep Derek Carr, that they have, long-term reservations about him. I think that, and I've said this on plenty of shows, I think they came to Vegas because they know they have an established quarterback.
I do too.
I think that's an attractive get for any head coach who's looking for a job. Okay, who's my quarterback? Do I have to find a quarterback? Am I going to have to trade for one? Do I have to draft one? And this year isn't a great year for quarterbacks.
Not at all. You saw Kenny Pickett?
Exactly. And they're nitpicking him. We could see, I don't know, like they're trying to figure out who's the best quarterback in this draft. It could be Malik Willis, Pickett. Is it Desmond? Is it Desmond out of Cincinnati? We don't know. But I think coming to Vegas, part of the draw was we got Derek Carr. We're going to build around him. But you're right. But I see fans already saying that, well, Derek Carr's got to learn a new offense. And I don't want that to be an excuse because I think he's a quick learner. And people are thinking it could be kind of what happened in 2018 where he had to adjust to Gruden and you saw a lot of bad picks, not a lot of production. I don't think you'll see that. I mean, he's an experienced quarterback now. He's been around the block. I think Josh McDaniels can get him up to speed because, he got Mac Jones to the Pro Bowl now. People talk about the validity of the Pro Bowl and how important that is. Point is, Mac Jones is pretty good as a rookie. So if Mac Jones
damn good as a rookie.
If he's good as a rookie, you can imagine what he can do with a vet going into his 9th year. So I don't expect a drop off from Derek Carr. I think he'll pick up where he left off.
Oh, 1,000%, man. Listen. This ain't his first rodeo learning a whole new system. He's had to learn a new system pretty much every 2 to 3 years. So he'll be fine. Derek is the least of my worries. The thing is, there are a lot of people that are saying that, they might get rid of Derek. And I really think that this is the way, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the way you're going to have to keep Derek Carr. If you're going to keep him, Derek Carr's got to take a pay cut. Not a pay cut, but when it goes into negotiating his new contract, it has to be advantageous to the team because, if you look at the nucleus of this team, Max Crosby is on a team-friendly deal, but that's going to be up next year. Hunter Renfrow, team-friendly deal. That's going to be up next year. Colt Miller might want to restructure. You know what I mean? Josh Jacobs he's on a team-friendly deal. Josh Jacobs, he's a running back. He could probably let Josh walk, right? All of these guys, and it's somebody I'm forgetting too. So it's like, the young nucleus of this team. Oh, Darren Waller as well. Darren Waller's on a team-friendly deal too. So the Super Bowl window for the Raiders is wide open if Derek Carr does what he said and says, you know what, I just want to win. Listen, instead of me going Zeke Elliott and taking $43 million, let me get 29, let me get 30. You know what I'm saying? So we can build a team around us and possibly go out and get one of the free agents that you've been researching. So let me ask you, Mr. Moton, Mr. Bleacher Report, Mr. Great columnist, what do you think is going to happen this offseason on the free agent front?
I'll tell you what I don't think is going to happen. And I talked about it last night. I don't think the Raiders are going to get Devontae Adams. That's been a big topic of discussion. Of course, everyone knows about the connection between Derek and Devontae going back to Fresno State. I get that. But that's just hasn't been the Patriot way. Raiders fans are going to cringe hearing me saying that. But the Patriot way is now the Raider way. And that's not how Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler did business in recent years. Last year, Patriots needed an influx of playmakers in their offense. And they went out and they got Hunter Henry. They got Jonnu Smith. They got Nelson Aguilar, who Raiders fans are familiar with. They got Kendrick Bourne. They spread that money out. They didn't put all their eggs in one basket. So I just want to get that out of the way.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think that actually, my number one wide receiver option would be Allen Robinson. I know he's an ex-receiver. I know Brian Edwards is there, but I think you want an established go-to wide receiver, and that is Allen Robinson. He's done a lot with some mediocre to below average quarterbacks. I mean,
he had like 1,300 yards with Blake Bortles.
Right. He had Mitch Trubisky. I mean, so like we have to understand, like, people want the best player at each position in free agency. It just doesn't pan out that way. I think Al Robinson is going to be a prime target. Christian Kirk could be a sneaky target, not a flashy name, but he could play inside, could play outside. And Arizona was very productive last year, had career highs, I believe, catches and receiving yards. Initially, I looked at a guy like Morgan Moses as a right tackle. He played with the Jets out here in my backyard. Solid right tackle if you want a placeholder, if you can't find a guy, because I'm going to tell you the tackle class this year isn't that strong.
So I was doing my draft. I have a draft expert waiting backstage too. We haven't found one that was worth drafting and starting this year.
So you might want to think about a bridge gap guy to come in just to hold the spot down, and then you want to draft the guy, because usually that's what happens. You feel your needs in free agency, and whatever you don't feel whatever you don't feel, or you want a long-term option at the position, then you go to the draft. So I think Morgan Moses, I think, is a good bridge gap option there. Cam Robinson, if you want to flip him from left to right, he had coming off a decent year in Jacksonville. Jacksonville has the first overall pick. They can actually get a tackle there. Could be Neal coming out of Alabama. I could see it, Evan Neal. They may let Cam Robinson go. If you want to flip him to the right side, see how he does there. Fine. Me, I'm more of a guy to say, look, get a guy who has experience at the right tackle position. Because you saw what just happened with Alex Leatherwood. And I said this during draft day. I said, Alex Leatherwood, I don't see him as a right tackle. I understand your best offensive lineman usually plays on the left side, whatever. But Alex Leatherwood, he had experience, I believe, at right guard, left tackle. Came to Reyes, play a right tackle, got moved after week 4, and he's a right guard. I think he should stay at right guard. Let him learn there. Give him a full offseason learning the position. He could be a decent right guard. Not great value for a first rounder, but if he's a usable first starter, fine. But get a right tackle, get a wide receiver. I think those are the top 2 primary needs of Raiders. And then you want to fill that defensive line because those guys, I think 5 defensive linemen expiring contracts: Quentin Jefferson, Solomon Thomas, Jonathan Hankins. Those guys are going to be out of the door. And I think with Patrick Graham, his history says that he wants 300-pounders on the interior of that defensive line. Dalvin Tomlinson, Dexter Lawrence, Austin Johnson, all those guys 300 pounds and up. So I think you're going to get a new group on that interior defensive line. The good thing about this draft is there's some depth on day 2 there, so you can pick up some guys, fix your defensive line, fix your run defense.
Oh, yes. Listen, I have a list of people that, because for me, what I hope the Raiders do, and we've talked about this on my shout out to my man Docs, man. Shout out to my man Docs, man. Graphic Raider, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We were on his show. We've been going mock draft crazy, Mo. We are so that's the thing about this fan base. We are so crazy about the damn Raiders. As soon as they lost in the playoffs, we've been trying to formulate in our mind. We've been trying to solve we've been trying to solve how to split the atom, even though they figured that out. We're trying to do it with the Raiders. We're trying to figure out who's coming here. We are a ravenous fan base. You know that. We're the best fan base on earth. And we were sitting there, and we've been doing mock draft after mock draft after mock almost every day. And I don't mean to pry, but I want to bring you and suck you into the mock draft madness as well. You get the first few picks, but when we were going through this, I was doing my homework, and there are 2 guys that I would really like to see them draft if they can. Hopefully, they'll still be available. Perion Winfrey and Travis Jones out of UConn, man. Travis Jones is an animal, man. He's humongous. He's a classic nose guard. We're gonna play different fronts, man. I'm just hoping that we go skill position first round, defensive tackle, best player available the rest of the draft. That's what I'm hoping for from the Raiders, and I hope that they can fill in the secondary and through a mixture of draft picks and free agents.
Man, the Raiders are used to throwing a curveball early in the draft. That was the previous regime. The Clelin Ferrell thing just comes to mind. That was the curveball of all curveballs. But usually when you think the Raiders are going to go one way, they go another. But I think it's barring what happens in free agency, I think it's very clear. You want them to go defense early. I actually think one of those players, or could possibly both those players, could be offense. Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. I was paying close attention to the Senior Bowl week, the practices and the scrimmages. His attitude, I like the lunge pail attitude that he brought. He was nasty on that field. He was throwing guys into the ground. He was playing with a whistle. He just had a nastiness around that I think the Raiders need on their offensive line. He reminds me of a bully version of Colton Miller almost when I watched him.
Mo, you have the Raider Nation upset right now. They said, don't jinx us, man. Yo, shout out to everybody in the chat. Yo, we got 110 in the chat.
110?
Yeah, 114. Listen, y'all, it's growing. We used to have it more than that, but I messed up. I made the broadcast for kids because listen, I got so excited when you hit me and said you would come on tonight. I messed up. Listen, y'all, tell a friend, man. This is Raider Nation Unlimited. Listen,
really quick, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know I retweeted it on my feed, but Raider Nation has really supported me. I've been writing and doing podcasts for maybe 6-7 years on the Raider Nation circuit, and I've gotten a lot of support. People have reached out. Sometimes I don't get a chance to get all of my DMs, but I just want to say I appreciate y'all all for tuning in and rocking with me all these years.
Bro, they love you, man.
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here without them.
Listen, Mo, look, they coming for me. They said Wasted was thinking of us kids. I made it marked for kids. I wouldn't let anybody in. Listen, the Raider Nation loves you, man. You are a legend. Before I met you formally, I used to read your columns and stuff like that. And I always love your takes because it's a balanced take. You don't just go and just spout off a whole bunch of nonsense and start making up these fictitious trades. Like, could the Raiders possibly trade for Patrick Mahomes? Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got some writers that grift. They get on here, they have nothing to write about in the offseason. They make things up. They starting all these rumors about every year, the same couple guys, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, it's the cavalcade of Raider rumors. Then they talk about how the coaches don't believe in Derek Carr and all this bull crap. But the one good thing that I've gotten out of all of this offseason is knowing that we have a line of demarcation between our front office, which we didn't have in the last few years. What I'm hearing is Josh McDaniels believes in Derek Carr, but it behooves him to say that because he has to work directly with Derek Carr. Now, Dave Ziegler has to negotiate with Derek Carr. So he's going to take a more measured approach and say, we'll evaluate everybody later. And I like that because he can be the boogeyman and Josh can coach him up and we can come and see what we have. I think the best thing for the Raiders is to go out here, let Carr start the year, see what you have with Derek. You know what I mean? Try to get him to take a haircut so that you can keep the Super Bowl window open and draft a kid, just let him learn behind Derek for a year. And you know, I know this is a very weak quarterback draft, but in weak quarterback drafts, there's always that one outlier late in the draft. So that's what I would like to see.
And you're right about that. And to get back to your Derek Carr question, I think they have to find a middle ground. And what I mean by that is Derek Carr, I don't think he's going to get $40 million. The ideal Derek Carr deal for me on an extension would be probably 33 to 34 million. A little steeper than what you said, but I think you can, with the salary cap going up, you can get away with that and still fill some needs. And as you said with Ziegler, I liked his answer because he was asked directly about Carr. He kind of said, well, we got to get to know him. You know, we think we can win some games with him, but it wasn't a definitive answer. It wasn't like Derek's our guy. Because as you said, he's got to sit at the negotiating table with his agent. He's got to negotiate. So anything he says can be used against him the table for more leverage. Now, a lot of Raiders fans think, because Derek Carr gets to the podium and says, I'm Raider Nation for life, and I want to be a Raider for the rest of my career, thinking that he'll lowball himself. And I think that's where the balance comes in. He's going to want the money that he deserves after leading the Raiders to the playoffs, at the season that they had. And him being the steady figure under center and leading that team to the playoffs, he's going to want what he deserves. But like I said, he has to straddle that fine line of how much do I deserve and how much do I want to leave so that we can fill needs at wide receiver, at offensive line, on the defensive line. If we need a cornerback, because I think Casey Hayward is going to follow Gus Bradley to Indianapolis. I think they're going to need a cornerback.
Definitely.
So there are some definite needs to fill. So it matters he has to balance. Get my money, but leave enough so that the Ziegler and Josh McDaniels can do what they do and help this team win.
See, I hope they don't take the Bill Belichick approach when they're building this team and they learn a little bit from, the last go round with Josh. I hope that they're honest and forthcoming and upright with him and say, listen, we need you to take a haircut, but this is who we're going to bring in. You know what I mean? We're going to go out and get you a free agent wide receiver. It might be Devontae Adams, but guess what? We might go to the Texans and bring, one of our guys in. You know what I mean? And you know who I'm talking about.
Brandon Cooks.
That's who I'm looking at. And then in free agency, let me bring in DJ Shark. And then in the first round, let me get some Treylon Burks. You know what I'm saying? And we listen, Doc, shout out to the Kingpin. My brother Docs is in the place to be, man. Docs ENT. If you don't know him, if you never heard of him, you need to get with it or get lost. Go over to YouTube and subscribe to his channel. Because he is probably the godfather of Raider content creators out there and podcasts and stuff. But like I said before, they need to come with a clear and concise plan. And I've kicked this around. I've had this conversation. A lot of people in the chat. We got 136 in the chat right now, y'all. Y'all break them thumbs. Share this thing out. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We have a legend in Raider Nation in here with us right now. But to be honest with you, that's what they need to do. They need to let Derek know that, you have a multitude of weapons. We're going to get you some protection. Pause. We're going to make sure that you're good to go. We're going to make sure that their defense, and we're going to make a run this year. If they can do that, I am very happy. And that is the reason why, and I will say this forevermore and hope that this spreads around the nation. This is the Raider equinox. This is the year that the Raiders come back to greatness. Al Davis always said the Raiders' greatness is in the future. And it's the future is now, ladies and gentlemen. The future is now. We have a few Raiderettes in here, too. That's how many people are in here. You even brought the ladies out, Mo. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. We've never had this much.
I mean, I got a hat on, but I got a fresh cut today. So I mean,
you getting that haircut love from the ladies in here, man.
But no, but I mean, I feel the optimism. It was kind of weird at first because I think you pointed this out at the beginning of the show. A lot of fans were expecting Harbaugh in there, and everyone's like, "Oh, Jim Harbaugh bust." And I told people, I was like, if the Raiders don't hire Jim Harbaugh, it doesn't mean that the coach that they do hire is a bad hire. Because I know how it works on Twitter and with fan bases. They get their mindset on one player, one coach. And if they don't get that one player, one coach, everyone else sucks. And I remember when the Raiders were trying to get a new defensive coordinator after Paul Guenther was let go. And a lot of people wanted Wade Phillips.
Yeah,
and a lot of people was like
going crazy about Wade Phillips.
Everybody was like, we need Wade Phillips. If it's not Wade Phillips, I don't want to hear it. Now, Gus Bradley came in, did a decent job. It wasn't an elite defense. But let's be honest, down the stretch, without that defense, the Raiders don't get to the playoffs because they will win a lot of low scoring, ugly games. So without that defense, they don't make it there. A lot of people want to say, "Oh, it was all the players," and it's funny to me that when things go awry, people want to blame the coach. When things go well, they say it's all the players. And I always say it's somewhere in between the middle. You have to have a mesh between the players and the coaches. And this brings me to the Patrick Graham hire. And this is why it's important for me to talk about this because Graham wants to be multiple. He said that plenty of times. He said that at previous stops, said that with the Giants. We're going to run a 4-3, 3-4, 4-2-5, 3-3-5, 4-2, 5-2 front, whatever. But he's going to have to fit the players to his system or vice versa. And a lot of times some coaches are stubborn. They go, this is my system. This is what I'm sticking to. I think his fluidness in being a coordinator and being a game planner helps Raiders because now he could take a guy like Max Crosby and see what he does best and say, okay, we're going to put you in this position to succeed. I can fit my system around your strengths, your talents. And I believe he said that. And Max Crosby said, as long as I can play the 6 tech or the 9 tech, I'm good because that's what I've been doing all my career going back to his collegiate years. So basically, he wants to line up over the offensive tackle or he wants to line up outside so he can use his speed, take advantage of some of the slow-footed offensive tackles. And I think with Graham's scheme, he can do that because with Graham doesn't just run an even or odd man front. He switches between both. I've seen him run a 4-2-5. So you could still see the Raiders run a 4-man front under Graham. So I want to tell fans that don't get hung up on he ran a 3-4 here, so Max Crosby's not going to fit. I wouldn't worry about Max Crosby. Playmakers are going to be playmakers. The guys I'm worried about, I shouldn't worry about, but guys that are going to get left behind are the Cleveland Farrells of the world, who's already getting left behind. But I'm not worried about Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue.
So you don't have any faith in Clee in this system. I think Cleveland Farrell is going to do something that you won't expect. I think he's going to step up and be a functioning defensive end. I really do. I think he's a perfect 3-4 defensive end. He really is. And even though he was overdrafted, you know what? Cleveland Farrell's a smart kid. He's a hard worker. Everybody says he's a bust. Anthony Provenzi, he just said that he's a bust with a capital B.
Capital B. He's right.
Capital B,
all
UST.
Caps. All caps.
Mo, come on, bro. Cleveland Farrell, there's no good reason why Cleveland Farrell can't be a functioning starter in the National Football League. There's no good reason. He was a great college football player. He played in a big conference, and he has a good work ethic. He has a high motor. I just think it was definitely a coaching issue. I think it was a culture issue, and I feel like he got pushed to the side, man. And I feel like the players and the coaches and the Patriots can bring out of Clee what we never thought he can be. Now, the one guy on our roster I do think needs to be cut yesterday was Jonathan Abram. What do you think about that guy?
It's funny you said. I'm actually the opposite of you. I don't think Cleveland Farrell. Yeah, I don't think Cleveland Farrell has a chance with the Raiders only because I think he's best as a strong side 4-3 defensive end on an even man front. I think that's just who he is. Because we've seen him at his best. He run stopping pretty solid, but he disappears when it comes to rushing the passer. That's just not his strong suit. And coming out of Clemson, I remember reading draft reports and just doing my own study. He's not a fluid bender. I mean, to be one of the best pass rushers in the league, you got to be able to bend around the corner. You got to have some flexibility, lower body, especially. He just doesn't have that. I want to call him stiff. He's not the most flexible defensive end. And I just think that works against him on a pro level when you're working against the best offensive tackles, the best offensive linemen in the world. Now, I will say about Jonathan Abram with Patrick Graham's scheme, what he likes to do is he likes to mix and match his nickels and his safeties. So he'll have a rotation of guys playing free safety. He'll have a rotation of guys playing slot cornerback. Who knows what that means for Nate Hobbs? I don't know. But I'm just saying that with Jonathan Abram, he has played a little bit of slot cornerback in his previous schemes, but I think they can salvage him to the point, keep him close to the line of scrimmage. My only problem with John Abram is his style of play is just not sustainable. Big hitter, physical, but he hurts himself, gets hurt, hasn't finished a full season yet.
His
and I told people
stiff too.
Right. And I told people coming out of the draft, a lot of people were excited about John Abrams, saying, oh, he's an old school Raider. He hits. We need that nastiness. And I said, it's a different league now. This isn't the 1970s. This isn't the 1980s. This is the 1950s. You got to have safeties who can cover. And that's not John Abrams' strong suit. Now, if you keep him if you can keep him close to the line of scrimmage and you have him blitz because he has the quickness, he can dart through offensive line, shoot gaps. If you're going to use him on blitzes, fine. But once you drop him back into space and he's in coverage, he's a liability.
Listen, we have breaking news. Jonathan Abram failed to cover his pool this winter. He can't even do that. They are going to kick that. Listen, I want to see Jonathan Abram get kicked in the face like Shawn Michaels as soon as he walks up. Cut him. I want Vince McMahon there to help Mark Davis and all of the people there to fire his ass and say, Jonathan Abram, you're fired. Get the hell out of here and bring in another safety. It's a bum.
But they've already got guys behind them. Tyreek Gillespie's, but they drafted Gillespie last year. Devon Diablo can play linebacker, safety. He's kind of like he can be a hybrid. So the writing is kind of on the wall for John Abram. He's not going to get that 5th-year option. So if anything, this is going to be his last year. Of course, the first-round picks, you're kind of stuck with them because, that dead cap money. But I think you could see with him, you're probably going to see a diminished role because I believe he played close to nearly almost all the snaps under Gus Bradley. Didn't come off the field a lot. But I think this coming year, you're going to see his role kind of dialed back a bit.
Well, listen, somebody just put in the chat. Shout out to Marcus Garza. 148 in the chat. Thank you guys for pulling up with me on such short notice, man. We love y'all here at Raider Nation Unlimited. You know what I mean? But when you have a legend, now we have 152 in the chat. When you have a legend, you have to come up and pull up and show respect. Jabril Peppers, what do you think about picking the bones of the Giants carcass with us having a defensive end from the Giants and, some of the free agents have a lot of connections to our coaching staff?
I think he can work. He worked before he got hurt. Didn't play a full season. I believe he got through week 7. Then had season-ending injury. If they want to pick him up, assuming he's fully recovered, I'd be fine with that. You probably can get him on the cheap because, as I say, he's coming off of a season-ending injury. The guy I would really want from the Giants, I know he's not going to be a free agent, but I would really want Logan Ryan because he's kind of the epitome.
Everybody is saying that, man. There's no way they're getting rid of Logan Ryan, man. I would love him too, man.
He's too valuable to that defense, but if they could swing a trade for him and get him, that he's the epitome of what Patrick Graham wants to do with a safety nickelback spot. Because he's the guy who, remember, with Tennessee, he was a corner. He was a pure cornerback. Got to the Giants, played more safety, changed his role, became a leader in that secondary, got guys in order. He was kind of like the quarterback of that defense on the back end. And to have a guy with his football IQ and his versatility would be huge if the Raiders defense can get a guy like that. If it's not Logan Ryan, somebody in his mold. The Raiders need a guy like that on the back end.
Let me ask you a question about James Bradberry. James Bradberry would be perfect for the Raiders. I'm thinking, as a second cornerback, he'd be perfect. And then you can go out there, get another corner, and then you can take Mullen and put him where he belongs as a third corner, like a backup. You know what I mean? Because that'll make our secondary way, way, way more formidable.
It's funny you bring up James Bradberry because he was in Carolina for a while, went to the Giants, known him more as a zone cornerback. And there was a quote from Patrick Graham. He said that if you can't play man coverage in this league, basically you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Now he could play split schemes coverage. He could have zone on one side, man on the other side. So I wouldn't rule out any zone based cornerbacks. But I'm curious to see, and I said this before, I think Casey Hayward is going to follow Gus Bradley to Indianapolis. I'm curious to see what the Raiders do at cornerback. Are they going to get a heavy man coverage guy? Are they going to get a zone guy? Are they going to mix guys? They're going to have guys who could play both, mix and match them. That's what I want to keep my eye on, because if Casey Hayward's out of there, they're going to need a lead cornerback, because Trayvon Mullen, got hurt last year, had a decent year, but the year prior, but got hurt. Contract year coming up. Is he the guy? Is he the guy long term? So I expect the Raiders to go out their cornerback either in the draft or in free agency.
Mo, the nation has spoken. Bradbury plus either Gilmore or J.C. Jackson. The nation has spoken. From your lips to God's ears, the 173. From your lips to listen, everybody. We all like Mullen, but listen, we can't be too nostalgic about our Raiders. 160 in the chat, y'all. Hit that likes, hit that thumbs up. Show some respect to our special guest, Mo Moton. Moton, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I'm looking at this offseason. I'm very, very excited. But as you said earlier, all of the things that we want to happen, all of the players that we're saying are going to come to the Raiders, it never happens. So to be honest with you, because you've been studying all of the free agents, what sneaky under the radar guys do you see that fits a scheme that you can actually see coming here? And not Devontae Adams, and you know what I'm saying? Because we've already established that. Like, what sneaky guys can you see coming here?
I got to do a deeper dive, and I'm actually going to – because actually I don't want to give it away too much, because I'm actually going to drop an article, a column on that.
Oh, you can't sprinkle the game on him exclusively on such a big – do you know the reach of Raider Nation Unlimited? I might be the 10,000th podcast talking about the Raiders. So, I mean, to be honest with you, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound, Mo? You can drop it right here. Come on now, man.
That depends. I mean, I mentioned a couple earlier on the show. Like Christian Kirk is not a guy a lot of people are talking about. It's not a guy that people are going to be super excited about. But if you look at what Dave Ziegler did, he was basically the de facto GM last year for the Patriots. Yes. And how he spread that money around. And they want versatility. I know you got Hunter Renfrow on the slot, but I think with a guy like Christian Kirk and you pair him with a rookie, I think he can achieve career highs within the Raiders offense if the Raiders pursue him. A lot of people have brought up Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm not big on him, and not just because of his TikTok antics, but I'm just not big on big slot receivers who are possession guys, and especially because that's also Hunter Renfrow's spot. So I don't think that's a match there. But Christian Kirk is a guy that I'm going to start talking about a little more. Also, I think you mentioned DJ Chark. I like his speed, his size. Urban Meyer wanted him to bulk up, but I think his size is fine the way it is if you're going to stretch the field with him. Derek Carr, as you know, likes big targets. Now, Christian Kirk is a little short. I believe he's about 5'11", a little under the shade under 200, around 200 pounds. But if you want a bigger guy who's going to give you some speed and stretch the field, I think DJ Chark is a guy to look out for in Jacksonville. Didn't get a fair shake because I believe he fractured his ankle after 4 games with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't expect him to come back. They got a new regime there. The Raiders can look at him, and I think he could be a fit in that scheme and actually, again, flourish.
Are there any New England Patriots that you could see coming here, like the Nate Soldiers of the world, Rob Ninkoviches of the world? Like, who do you see coming out of that situation? Besides, because J.C. Jackson's a UDFA, so he's unrestricted free agent, so we can take him out of there. I can see him coming definitely, but who can you see like the Patriots getting rid of or maybe trading?
Yeah, J.C. Jackson, that's going to be tough because he's going to get a lot of offers after the season that he had. I mean, he would be the perfect guy to put in. But as far as like former Patriots are concerned, you mentioned Nate Solder. I mean, a few years ago, I would probably said because he could play left and right tackle. But I think he's actually closer to retirement than he is playing another season. Had some issues with the Giants. Didn't really live up to his contract after they signed him. As you know, the Giants' offensive line is kind of a mess.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're gonna bring him in just as a backup, as an insurance policy, go for it.
Hey, we got breaking news too. Cliff Branch has made the Hall of Fame.
It's about time.
It's about goddamn time, man.
It's
Cliff Brown just made it into the Hall of Fame. We have this live on Raider Nation Unlimited, man. Listen, the synergy that's happening tonight, is amazing, man. But on the real, man, it's about damn time, and it's sad that the NFL waited so long to let those great Raiders in without confirming it. And listen, I didn't even confirm it myself. I know you have to confirm it. I'm not going to confirm it because I believe my chat. I believe my flock.
Y'all wouldn't lie to us.
Y'all wouldn't lie to us. Come on now. But it's a damn shame it took so long, man. So shout out to Cliff Branch's family. And I hate to see, now somebody put some bullshit in the chat. Breaking news, Derek Carr for ESPN. We all they love to stir the pot every year. Yo, man, get out of here with that, man. I see, the minute I put my trust in you bastards, here you guys go. Yeah, but it's confirmed though. Cliff Branch in the chat, it's confirmed, man.
We got to start giving people their flowers while they're still living. And I like to tweet that as a general life, not lesson, but just general life rule. Don't wait till people pass away or they're on their way out to kind of praise them and give them their just due. And I think that's what happened with Cliff Branch. So, we don't know what criteria went into picking Hall of Famers behind closed doors, but I'm just glad he's finally getting his just due tonight, getting his notoriety, and he deserves it.
Yeah, the only Raider that in the modern era that they just didn't mess around with was Marcus Allen. He's the only one. I mean, they really, they let Marcus in immediately. You know what I mean? Tim Brown, they made him wait. And it's just like he should have been the first ballot Hall of Fame. It's like, come on. You know what I mean? It was a lot of bull that happens with the Raiders, man. And there's another guy that I feel like should be let in, and it's definitely Jack Tatum, the assassin, man. I mean, come on, man. We got to get some more. Those teams were so great back in the day. It's not enough of them guys in the Hall of Fame, man. And I know Jack Tatum. You got to look on your face like I don't know. Jack Tatum deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
No, I'm sure there's. I mean, you could talk about a list of Raiders that people feel like should be in or got in too late. And a lot of people say, well, that's the bias there. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Do you buy into it? Do you buy into the bias?
I would say this. Anytime a person, owner of a team, gives you a hard time, you're not going to be the soft. You're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt. You're not going to be the softest with them. As we know, Al Davis had his battles with the NFL.
Yes.
So that obviously plays into it. And a lot of times we see a little bit of that with Mark Davis. Mark Davis was upset when the Gruden email scandal went down. He's basically saying, this is the league. This is what the league does to our team.
Oh my God.
We catch strays all basically. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say this, but basically he's saying, Raiders catch strays all the time because their investigation was into the Washington football team and their business, what they were doing over there. And all of a sudden Gruden's emails pops up. And now he's in the center of this firestorm. So,
it was like this. It looked like they took a dictionary and went like this, and opened the page up out of all the millions of emails and went. You see right there, John Gruden. That right there. That's what we got out of this whole investigation. Never mind the misappropriation of sexual advances and all the nonsense and the racism and all the nonsense that's going on in that organization. We have to get John Gruden out of football. Now, what I need to ask you is that somewhere along the line, man, this might be the best thing that ever happened to the Raiders. And I hate to say that. I really do, man. It might be the best thing that ever happened because it was not going in a good direction with John Gruden.
It's funny you say that. And I wonder, we will never know the answer to this, but I wonder how would the Raiders have finished if John Gruden was still their head coach?
Would they 6-10?
Would they have still gone through that? Because remember, they were 6-7, and then they turned it around. Would they have continued going on a nosedive downward, or would they have turned it back around and found a way to their defense step up and Derek Carr and get to the playoffs? I have my doubts that they would have turned it around.
No, they wouldn't. Until you had John Gruden on the sideline sneering. He's like, hey, man, listen, you guys are really fucking up now, man. I think it's about time for you guys. I need to get some guys who can play some fucking football in here, man.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood if you're with me. Does anybody want to see Nathan Peterman start? Hey, Carr, man. Hey, you throw another fucking pick. I'm having Nathan the GOAT Peterman immediately, man. I'm sorry. Sometimes I have these Tourette's moments where I imitate.
But you know what, though? And I hate, like I said, you don't want to see John Gruden go out the way he did. But think about it. If the Raiders don't make the playoffs under John Gruden, for the 4th straight season. You know, how do fans sit there and say, I believe in the direction of this team? He's on a 10-year contract. You missed the playoffs for 4 consecutive years. How can you then look John in the face and he's at the podium saying, we're headed in the right direction? I think you would have heard a lot of fans say, I cannot support this Red team until John Gruden is gone.
Like, hey, man, listen, man, before I get started, hey, Mo, man, I love you, man. I love you. I love you, brother. Listen, we're going to get this thing right, man. We're going to get this thing right. I'm going to fire Mike Mayock. I'm going to blame him for every dumb mistake I made. And we're going to get somebody in here that can play some fucking football. The first person I'm going to get is Mike Glennon.
It's like,
what I'm saying? There's always somebody that nobody like. See, I hate people who run organizations in the National Football League who think that they're smarter than everyone else.
Try to smart the room.
Like, bro, you're not the smartest guy in the room, bro. This guy's been on like 8-9 teams. Give me a break, man. I'm the best thing that's ever happened to us, man. And I don't want to put you in a spot. I understand, man. But listen, John Gruden for the Raiders was a match made in hell from the beginning. He was a boomer that was sitting behind a desk, and he's from an era removed from football. You cannot coach like that. And to be honest with you, he didn't do that well without Al Davis being there to tell him, hey, man, get out of my office. You know what I'm saying? Like, he needed Al Davis because Al was still in his right mind then. He needed Al to help build those teams. Because you leave it up to him, who knows if Rich Gannon is our quarterback? Who knows? Maybe he would have kept Jeff George. You never know, man. You never know, man. And I hate to see the fact that John Gruden gets all of this credit for being a supposed offensive genius when he took over Tony Dungy's team with a freaking roster full of Hall of Famers. A roster full of Hall of Famers, bro. It's just like, it's nonsense, man. So, Mo, I want to say this, man, because I don't want to hold you too long, brother. Things are on the upswing. You've given us some very, very valuable information, but I have to get you down into the dumps with all of us crazy Raider fans. Now, I know you didn't do a deep dive into, the NFL draft. You know what I mean? I'm so excited. I'm stuttering right now.
Really quick, though.
Yes.
Before we go into the NFL draft, you did ask a question about free agency, and there was a name that popped in my head while you were talking.
Sure.
Dante Hightower is going to be a free agent. If you could bring Dante Hightower from New England to Las Vegas, I think that would be a solid pickup. Because
I would love it.
Because if you look at the Raiders linebacker, I know they got Perryman there. I get it. But Nicholas Morrow, is he coming back? Nick Kwiatkowski has been a disappointment. I know he started 2020, fell out of his spot. He's probably, if they can trade him, I don't know what kind of trade value he's going to have, but they can move on from him. They could. They probably will. Corey Littleton, huge disappointment. I know there's a lot of dead cap tied to him, but if you designate him as a post-June 1 cut, you could save some money. So that linebacker core is going to look a little different. So I'm wondering if Dante Hightower is going to be on their radar.
Dante Hightower would be perfect to bring in, man, because he can teach the rest of these guys his defense as well. Because this defense is going to be something that, because I'm sure Graham used a lot of things he learned in New England, and a lot of the terminology might be different, but he can definitely build it. See, listen, the nation has spoken. They said Gruden couldn't build a case of hemorrhoids. Knock on wood if you with me, baby. They're talking about the Devin Lloyd and the Kobe Dean. But listen, I wanted to bring in a special guest here, Mo. There is a man that is a content creator that is the most underrated and hardest working content creator out there. He's coming live from the West Coast. He's what I call a draft savant. My man, Dirty Raider. We're gonna bring him on, y'all. Dirty Mo.
How you doing?
Salute, man. So Mo, look, this is the way I wanted to do it, man. I wanted to give you the first 2 picks because you're the special guest and you're the expert. We're just 2 yahoos who love the Raiders.
Yahoos.
And what I want for the chat to do is, can I have the super moderator, Terrence Carey? Could you do me a favor and put Dirty Raiders YouTube page in the chat so everybody can follow? Could y'all put my YouTube channel in the chat so who's ever not a member of the family can become a member of the family? Tap in. Please put doxes in the chat. Put hammers in the chat. Put everybody's math in the chat, man. because listen, man, that's what we do in the Raider Nation, man. We link up together, man. It's like, like I said, Raider Nation Unlimited is going to be the United Nations of the Raider Nation. I'm going to try to connect everybody in the Raider Nation together, man. So
Yes,
listen,
sir.
we have our man here. And what we're going to do is we're going to give him the first 2 picks because I know that, you really haven't done a deep dive, Mo. So I'm going to start the draft. Everything's set up. I'm not accepting any trades. Okay, Mo, can you see?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, we got Drake London. We got Kerr Elam,
See it.
Bernard Rahman, Chris Olave, Desmond Ritter. I'm going to go back in and try to scroll down a little bit. Jahan Dotson. Treylon Burke is available. And oh my God, Drake London and Treylon Burks is available. What is going on, brother? Jordan Davis, Deontay Watt. It's a who's who here. Mo, what say you?
Did you say Drake London was available?
Drake London, Drake himself. He only loves his bed and his mama. He's sorry.
But then you got to go there because I think arguably he's probably the best wide receiver in the draft. I know he's coming off an injury, but he should be fine. He should be good to go. Raiders need a go-to. As I said, Raiders need a go-to wide receiver. If they don't pick up one in free agency, definitely have to go with one in the draft because if you're building around Derek Carr, give him some weapons. I know you got Darren Waller there. I know you got Hunter Renfrow there, but I think getting a wide receiver because, I mean, picking up Henry Ruggs before his accident was going to work out. I believe he was headed in the right direction before that happened. So you go back to the well, you get yourself a wide receiver, you get a go-to guy, and you keep it pushing.
Yeah, man, I'm going to be honest with you, man. The Henry Ruggs thing is still a very sore point for me. I'm going to go in the fetal position and cry later, Mo. Thank you for ruining my night. But listen, this is the second round pick, Mo. You got this one. We got we got linebackers here. We got Daniel Falahi, whatever, I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry, y'all. Chad Muma, the talented linebacker out of Wyoming. We got
his draft is rising. His stock is rising.
Brian Asamoah, Nick Benito, Kyler Gordon, cornerback. We got cornerback help here, Jalen Turbot. But listen, like you said, we need to build the trenches. So Mo, I'm gonna let you know something. There is a person right here. I know it's your pick. It's your pick. I'm just letting you know that Travis Jones is here. Marcus Houston's still here. Ed Paschal still here. I'm gonna go to defensive tackle. Where are you gonna go in this draft for your ideal offseason? Are you going defense? You going offense? What are we doing here?
Could you flip to offensive tackle really quick? I'm looking for a guy that you didn't mention him, and I'm thinking he should be available with the second round pick.
Okay, who are we looking for here?
Darian Kennard out of Kentucky.
Darian Kennard. I heard he's a dancing bear. He has great feet. I don't know why he's not higher on people's draft boards, or maybe the fact he's not here because Andrew Stuber's still down there. He is gone, Mo. I guess they must be reading your columns.
They must be reading my columns or reading my mind. Man.
So listen, we have another big physical oos here, 6'9", 380, senior out of Minnesota.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go there with it. And he was also a lot of people who were at the Senior Bowl, and I understand 6'9", 380. You look at that on paper and you go, that's a big guy. But the people who were at the Senior Bowl wasn't there. But the people who were present is like, man, if you can get this guy as a bodyguard for your quarterback, you're cooking with you're cooking with right there.
He was definitely one of the reasons that their running back was so good. You know what I mean? I was asked to go and watch the tape because I was told the running back was like fabulous. You know what I mean? But he didn't stand out on tape. His offensive line stood out on tape. His wide receiver stood out on tape because they all opened holes and blocked for him. You know what I mean? He doesn't stand out because he runs upright. He never lowers his shoulders. He only bounces to the outside. He will never run up the middle of the field. So you just asked me to go watch a tape on somebody, and he's not even the one who stood out. The rest of the offense stood out more than he did. So yeah, I can agree with taking that guy right there. You know what I mean? Because he was moving some people on that line, bro. Two people at a time.
Not to cut you off dirty, but just imagine a guy Trent Brown size with some drive and wants to be out there and play football.
Yeah, a little bit more athletic. Yeah, I like it.
You know, I
just
love
saying,
that
yeah.
pick.
It was a beautiful pick because, yeah, I watched the tapes. I was told the running back was fabulous, and when I look at the tape, his line stands out more than he does. I feel like if he had a different line, he wouldn't even be up for discussion.
So now here we are. 3rd round pick. Mo, you gonna do this one, or Dirt, you gonna do this one?
I leave it to the expert down below me.
Now, yes, he's definitely an expert, man. He has
He's
a terrific haircut too. Terrific haircut, man.
Let me
I'm
see
jealous.
the corners. Let me see the corners really quickly.
Marcus Jones. Ooh.
None of those are worth drafting in the 3rd round. They're all late round picks to me.
Oh my
They're not
God.
really.
Tariq Castro Fields.
Yeah,
Really?
there's a reason he's falling. There's a reason his stock is falling, just like Kobe Bryant's stock is falling for a reason. Because a lot of these other people are literally coming out. You know, their film is really getting watched now. You know what I mean? We're really into the part where we're starting to dissect everything in a film. You know what I mean? So if you have more negative plays than you have good plays, and somebody else is maybe of a lesser talent, but is literally being way more productive than you, their draft stock is rising and yours is falling. You know what I mean? Because they really don't have any faith in you. And I'm not trying to give you big money when I don't have that much faith in you. So the confidence is starting to fall on a lot of people, and other people's stuff is starting to rise. So that's one of the reasons I tend to stay away. If your draft stock is falling that bad, because he's fallen 20 to 30 spots in the last week.
Yeah, but that's lip service though, man, because they haven't had the combine yet. You know, a lot of this stuff is just a lot of these talking heads making stuff up as they go along, to be honest.
I know, but some of this stuff carries validity to it. You know what I mean? A lot of these people have been doing it for years and years and years. You know what I mean? So I tend to appreciate some of the words that they kick around. Now, there's some tape that I've watched and I have a different view and I have a different opinion, but isn't that what make us creators? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bro, listen, let me tell you something, man. You got people like the Mel Kiper Jr.'s of the world. I remember Mel Kiper Jr. being on the air, no disrespect to ESPN, the Mel Kiper Jr., arguing for the Colts to draft Trent Dilfer like he was Peyton Manning. A lot of these guys don't know, you know, they have as much right to their opinion as we do.
He's like, you know, hey, if the Colts don't listen, I'm gonna tell you something, man. There's a reason why the Colts are doing terrible. They're never gonna win. They have to draft Trent Dilfer, man. I mean, come on.
I believe a lot of this information comes from front office scouts, though, more than it comes from TV analysts that we see. I think a lot more of this stuff right here comes from actual scout analysts who that's their job. They're not in front of a camera. This is what they do for a living type thing. I think more of this stuff comes from them than it actually comes from the people we watch on ESPN or, you know what I mean, Fox Sports or whatever that is. You know what I mean? I think it comes more deeper from the scouts. So, but I didn't like any of the corners that were there for this 3rd round pick. Let me see a linebacker. Let me see the linebackers.
Oh, he's trying to see. This is what I like. I like a hard-nosed team built from the inside out. Listen, we got a true beast right here.
We do.
Brian Asamoah.
Is Devontae Wyatt gone? The D tackle.
He should be in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, he is an animal. He reminds me.
Second round.
Bro, that guy reminds me, and I know y'all gonna laugh. Don't make fun of me, but he reminds me a lot of Warren Sapp. He has a complete tool case of pass rushing moves. He has, you know, that burst. He has a good drive. He's a solid tackler, and he has that spin and that bend for a defensive tackle that you would look for. So he's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone. Listen, we're pipe dreaming here. We got Brian Asamoah. We got Sky Moore, Dylan Parham. A nice, good guard if you want to shore up and give Carr some new car insurance.
I like Brian. You know what? I'm going to double down, man. No, I don't really want to double down.
Come on, Dirty. Listen, our pick is – they're going to give our pick to the next team. What's going on here?
So, at this point in time, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and draft the boy out of Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Right now,
Brian
it's the only true value at this point.
So you know what? Because I am a draft geek, I've done so many mock drafts. I think this is going to be my last one for a while, just to show you guys that my greatness won't be appreciated until I'm no longer with us. I'm going to go and draft the great Bailey Zapp. Thank you very much. Strong arm, young quarterback. He can sit behind Carr and make him nervous in camp.
The Carr stands are going to be in your mentions after this one.
Yes,
what?
They are.
You draft the quarterback? How dare you draft the quarterback? I actually think the Raiders should draft the quarterback regardless of what happens with Carr. I think it's always good to have a guy you have developing behind the scenes, ready to step in just in case Carr gets hurt or what have you.
Yeah, man.
Right
you
here,
know how it
this
is,
pick,
bro.
Is this 5th round? This is round 5.
I don't know what round it is. It's almost
round 5.
I don't know what's going
We need
on.
to go ahead and address that running back spot right about now. Pierre Strong Jr. right there is a name that I like.
What? Over Hassan Haskins?
Yeah, over Hassan Haskins. I think Pierre has a stronger upside. You know what I mean? I think the way that they're going to want to use him, Haskins doesn't fit for us.
Bro, Mo,
Jerry,
I want to let you know we are going to get fired as GMs right now.
I wanted to ask Jerry the question. What do you think about Dameon Pierce? There was a lot of buzz about him during Senior Bowl week, the running back. A lot of buzz about him, his versatility.
Who, Devontae
Pierce? You talking about Devontae from Florida International?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Devontae. Cool kid, stock is rising, right? But here's the thing. Being where he's at, he didn't really play a high talent. You know what I mean? He's in the wrong scheme. So what he's actually able to do, they're still out on. You know what I mean? Because the scheme that he was in didn't really fit the style of play that he is. You know, so I'm still very at the point where he might move up a little bit, but at the same time, he might just stay right where he is, which is right now a UDFA. He really is a UDFA. So
actually, it is Dameon Pierce out of Florida, the running back.
Yeah, he's going already. He's going already.
I just wanted his opinion if he had any, if he dug into the tape on, because there was a lot of buzz about him during.
If we were talking about Devontae, then that's my stance on Devontae.
No, Dameon Pierce, man.
Dameon Pierce is the running back out of Florida.
Yes, I have a little to say about Dameon Pierce, man. I mean, Dameon Pierce, bro, is explosive. You know what I mean? And I would love to draft him, because he's the kind of guy that you can have on a roster and you can let Josh Jacobs walk. He's a senior, you know what I mean? 5'10", 215. He's kind of that same kind of a mold. He has good burst. He's very good in space. He's a tough running back. And you know what I mean? He has the pedigree coming out of the SEC. So he'd be a guy I would love to see on the roster, because you have to have a third running back to replace Jalen Richard, and you can do that on the cheap and kind of groom him to take the spot next year.
And I ask that because you know how Josh McDaniels had run things with the Patriots where they have multiple backs. I remember when they played the Raiders 2 years ago, they must have had 3 or 4 running backs touch the football, from J.J. Taylor, to whoever was on that roster. They'll get a power guy in between the tackles. They'll get a guy who can run the stretch, a little more speed. So I just think that with Kenyon Drake coming off an injury, Josh Jacobs, we don't know what his long-term future is going to be. I think the Raiders could probably get a running back in day 3, round 5.
Isn't this guy like at least a first or second rounder?
No.
I would say he's more of a day 3 pick.
Third to fourth?
Didn't have a big workload at Florida. Never was the lead guy. He's
got low numbers. He's got extremely low numbers. The only good thing that stands out about him is he's never fumbled the ball. You know what I mean? That's one of the highlights that on his stats from 2018 to 2021. He's never fumbled the ball. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's really the only thing that jumps out to me. I mean, his longest run was this year of 61. Mm-hmm. The most touchdowns he's scored is 3. He only averaged 11.4 yards this year. This is the first time he's averaged double digits. Yeah, it's not impressive. I would love to ask you this, man. How do you put him at day 2 in 3 and 4? I mean, if I'm looking at it, are we classifying him as another Josh Jacobs, a guy who was underutilized in college and can quite possibly have a large upside in the NFL?
And that's what I was getting at. And you look at, and I'm not going to compare him to some of the top guys like Alvin Kamara, but there are some guys on the collegiate level where they weren't utilized heavily, But you can see the talent, and you can say, okay, if you translate that to NFL level and give that guy 10 to 12 touches, can he do more on the pro level than he did on a collegiate level? And they were talking about him in that light.
Okay.
You know,
My question would be: so if you do that, right, does that start to create a trend for college? I mean, does that make colleges want to go and get a couple of more backs and utilize them less, and then the NFL just starts drafting like that? I mean, because if that's the case, that's really going to hurt a lot of teams in the long run if there's not enough film on running backs. You know what I mean? Where they're just now, okay, this guy's, you know what I mean? Like that's where I fear, like, if this trend starts to begin, then it snowballs. You know, because college football is already getting boring as it is. You know what I mean? You don't really have these star collegiate standouts like what we used to watch 10 to 12 years ago. You know what I mean? The game is really starting to change. You know, players aren't just choosing these 3, 4, 5 schools anymore. You know what I mean? They're literally spreading themselves out. If you look at the HBCU, they're starting to pull from this pool. You know what I mean? And that's really going to start giving colleges a run for their money. So do we really want to start changing up the running back game? Because like I said, it's already boring as it is.
See, you know the thing about college football that's going to make it a little bit more exciting? I mean, we're going to look at, you know, the transfer portal like we look at free agency, and that's probably going to bring some more excitement, you know, with the fact that the kids can now make money on their own likeness and everything. The thing I'm a little bit afraid of is that I don't want a lot of these young brothers to get in trouble financially because, you know, they might sign a bad contract or something, because, you know, you go from having total control and autonomy to where they can't even get a fucking steak dinner without, you know, being, you know, messing with the program, to now having all of these people and these wolves at the gate. So, you know, like that's the thing about college football. I think college football is definitely going to get more exciting because of that fact. People are going to wonder where certain people are going. You're having that super conference in the SEC that's forming with Texas and Oklahoma going over there. So that'll be like the minor league junior national football league pretty much. And, you know, a lot of those kids that are from that area, all those football hotbeds from Texas to Florida, you know, all up through the South, they don't normally leave the South. There's no reason for them to leave the South like they used to. So I think college football is going to surprise you, Dirty. I think I'm going to have to wash your mouth.
That's why I asked the question, because I see the upswing of excitement. You know what I mean? By them allowing these big schools to now pay these players, you know what I mean? It's going to start taking away from the smaller schools again, because the smaller schools aren't going to be able to afford, you know what I mean, these players, the type of money that they can make at these big schools like SC, like Alabama, like Arkansas, like Florida. You know what I mean? These major schools that used to be perennial powerhouses in college football. You know what I mean? So it's going to start taking from the schools like Tulsa. You know what I mean? It's going to start taking from the Florida Internationals. You know what I mean? It's going to start taking some of that talent back. You know what I mean? It's going to hurt the HBCU in about 2 to 3 years unless the HBCU can actually produce what Dion is trying to do for them this year, which I applaud, you know, because he's really trying to get them out on the forefront. You know what I mean?
Well, so that's what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to have another gold chain wearing Jerry Curl sporting shaded superstar in football within the next 2 years. And that will make it exciting again. We are going to see Jerry Curl juice dripping all up and down football fields across America, ladies and gentlemen. but no, I would be honest, man.
Have a little Matt Kringleberry out there, huh?
That's right.
What we doing, bro?
That is right. Right. But no, listen, guys. Hey, Dirty, I appreciate you dropping in, man. Thank you, my brother. Dirty, do me a favor. I'm gonna pull you out. I need you to put your link in the chat. Put my link in the chat. Everybody that's down with the coalition, man. So everybody who's watching this, who's not familiar with us, follows you, man, because you have a lot of talent. Mo, Dirty, I'm glad to make the connection between you two.
Mo, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too, man.
Yes, sir.
We're looking out.
Thank you, my brother. Please, and yo, please put everything in the chat. Everybody who already hasn't subscribed to Dirty Raider, please. It's the race to 1,000 to get this man monetized. Mo, man, listen, I appreciate you coming on, bro. It's just one more thing I want to unpack with you before we go. To you, what does success look like? And I've asked this question on other shows, man, but what does success to you look like for this regime, and how long will you give this regime till you say, hey, listen, this is over, we need to move on?
Well, that's a loaded question right there. It's a big question. But I'll say the ultimate success is obviously a Super Bowl. If that's not the aim, what are we doing, right? Raiders just made the playoffs. So as I said, now you take the next level. Now you got to win some playoff games to get to the Super Bowl. So that's the ultimate goal. I will say that a lot of people, a lot of fans, especially on social media, they want instant success. We gotta win X amount of games right away, or else this is not working. And I would say, like, with any new regime coming in, you have to give some things time to work out. They have to get a feel for the players, the roster, how they're gonna run things. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say.
Yeah.
So I would say you gotta give it at least 2 years to see that it's heading in the right direction. Gotta give
2 years. That's it.
Yes, the Raiders just made the Raiders just made the playoffs. Lost their head coach, lost their lead wide receiver. Darren Waller hurt down the stretch. You're building from a playoff squad. You have an established quarterback. Now, if they were going out to draft a quarterback or build a guy from scratch, now I would say, okay, give it a little bit more time. But you're coming from an organization where you're used to winning rings. You have an established quarterback. You have a team coming off of a playoff appearance. Even if you were to take a step back and let's say they go 8-9 next year, I hope that doesn't happen. But let's say you do take a step back with all the changes. That following year, you should be taking a step forward. And if you're taking a step forward, that means you're going to have a winning record, 9, 10, 11 wins. If you're not in the playoff mix, I'm not saying they have to win a Super Bowl in 2 years. What I'm saying is within 2 years, they have to be a playoff team. And they have to be double digits because you're in a division right now with Patrick Mahomes. And that Chiefs team has gone to 4 consecutive AFC Championship games. You're in a division with Justin Herbert, who isn't going anywhere. I know the Raiders got in over the Chargers in that final week of the regular season, but Justin Herbert is not going anywhere. The Bills are in the conference. The Ravens are going to probably bounce back with Lamar Jackson and their coaching staff. I know they have some changes, but the Ravens are usually in the mix. Who knows what's going to happen with the AFC South? The Titans are still pretty good, but you got to be able to compete. And like I said, it's not like they're building a team from 4-13. Now, if Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler were taking over the Jacksonville Jaguars, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
But this is not the case. Taking over a playoff team that just won 10 games. Now it's time to take the next level.
Mo,
it's time.
Listen, the nation loves you.
It's time.
The nation loves you.
I'm just speaking for growing up a Raiders fan, and I grew up. Obviously, I've said this. I grew up a Raiders fan. I'm now a professional. But when you watch the team twiddle around in 8-8 and being 500 and not making the playoffs, we got to make some moves.
Yes, sir.
And I don't say we a lot, but the Raiders have to make some moves. You make this move for Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler because you're looking up. You're looking at a Super Bowl, and you're saying, look, we're turning the keys over to a playoff team. Take it to the next level. I got to see it within 2 years.
Brother, let me tell you something, man. And I love that you said you grew up a Raider fan because so did I. You know what I mean? And listen, I want to give a quick shout out to my man, Cooley Bravo, for pulling up, man. I appreciate you for supporting us. You're a Broncos fan.
He said, I'm a Broncos fan, but I'm here.
That's my brother, man. Listen, I love Cooley, man. Listen, we will excuse Cooley Bravo being the Broncos fan. You can come here, yo. We want you to transfer to the dark side with us, Cooley. Shout out to Cooley, man. But look, bro, you said exactly what I just said the other day. Exactly. See, I'm trying to be kind of measured because, yo, you're outside of this whole fan, this whole fandom thing because you're on the ground floor with this thing. And I'm going to be honest, man. I normally am myself. You've seen me on there. I'm normally myself wherever I go. Today, I have definitely not been myself. Let me tell you something. If those sons of bitches don't at least win a fucking playoff game and then some, I want everybody out of here by next year. No, I'm playing around. I want everybody out by next year.
Listen, don't soften up on these Raiders, man.
Nah, man. I want to win.
Fans have been watching a team that's either been disappointing, non-competitive, mediocre. It's time to win some games. You're in a tough division. You're in a conference with some young quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, as I just mentioned. You got to step it up.
Yo,
It's
I
time.
want to read you some stuff from the chat. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro, but like
No, it's
this
all
is
good.
the thing. This is what's going on here. This is how much the nation, they understand when people are giving them good content. They understand when people are knowledgeable. Look at the response that you're getting here. Mo is the best writer on Bleacher Report. Always enjoy reading his articles. Arkham, you know what? I had serious doubt that you could actually read, so it makes me very,
Wow.
very now play. That's my Arkham Raider, that's my boy, man. I appreciate you, brother. Yo, listen, bro. I've got like 20 comments, man, in the chat, and you know, I should really have a moderator. You know what I mean? I'm a boomer tech. I'm messing up. I'm not reading all the comments, bro. But you're getting so much love from the people here, bro. And let me tell you something. You're always welcome on my platform, man. I appreciate you coming through, brother. And I want to keep talking to you, man. But I know your time is valuable, man. And I don't want to hold you too long. Pause. I have to bring up one more thing just before you go.
Mhm.
Just before you go. We got Josh McDaniels. We got everything in place. Some of these rumors that are floating out there about, you know, Derek Carr, the son of God himself, the child of God himself, says that, you know, with the things that came out about his brother, that he might consider going elsewhere. Do you believe that?
No.
And
Go ahead. Sorry.
and before you say this, people are putting Aaron Rodgers in the mix, and he just won another MVP. Fuck him. But before you say this, can you see any scenario that he's not here next season?
I mentioned this on a previous show. There's one scenario where I can see Derek Carr is not the starter for the Raiders in 2022. And it's because he's asking for too much money at the negotiating table. Now, I know at the podium, he's going to say all the right things. That's who Derek Carr is. He's going to say all the right things at the podium. But we all know deals are done behind closed doors. And what he says behind closed doors isn't going to go public. So we don't know what he's asking for. What if Derek Carr wants 35, 36 million? And Dave Ziegler says, I like you, Derek Carr, but I don't like you that much. I can't give you 36. I can give you 34. I can give you 33 and a half. And Derek Carr says, no, I need 36. And Dave Ziegler goes, okay, we'll talk in a couple of days. Picks up the phone, makes a couple of calls. I know fans don't want to hear this, but let's say Russell Wilson's available. Let's say Aaron Rodgers is available. And Dave Ziegler says, I can pay Derek Carr 36, or I could pay close to 40 and up for Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. I think he would at least consider it. I'm not saying that to do it, definitely. Gotta weigh a lot of things, a lot of factors. But it's all about value. And you say, okay, what is this quarterback's value versus Derek Carr's value? And then you make your decision. But that is the only way I can see Derek Carr not starting for the Raiders if he's asking for an amount that Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels are just not comfortable with. And that could happen. Because again, we don't know what Derek Carr is asking for.
See, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the Sierra prayer, like they say on Twitter, that she said to get Russell Wilson. Raider Nation, I need you to pray along with me and bring Russell Wilson home to all of us so that we can win a Super Bowl and Sierra can have her one-woman show in Las Vegas. She'll love it in Vegas. And then she'll perform at the Super Bowl when we play in the Super Bowl at home in 2 years, everybody, baby. I'm telling you something. The Raider Equinox is upon us. Buy into it. I'm going to have T-shirts made up for everybody. Buy into it. It's a real thing, everybody. This is the time that the nation will rise and be as great as Al Davis said it will be in the future. Mo, I appreciate you for coming on. Yo, you are excellent. You know, and I'll forever be in your debt for coming on my little wonky podcast.
I've been doing podcasts, basically making appearances basically this whole week, and I feel like I saved the best for last because I've been watching a lot of your work, and I said, you know what, this would be a podcast that I can actually kick back and have some fun on and have some laughs. It doesn't have to be too buttoned up. I can get on my sided cap and just laugh it up and just talk Raiders. And I think that's the fun part of it.
Yeah,
we can just get on and just talk like you would sitting in the barbershop, two, three guys just having a regular conversation. Nobody's calling each other out of their name. We may disagree, but at the end of the day, we're all about Raiders content. That's what matters.
That's right, man. I was going to say, Rocket Montana. I was about to start it. I was about to start it on you. I was about to say,
Joe Louis was 137 years old, bro. I was about to go in on you, bro. But now, folks, thank you, y'all. This has been another Raider Nation Unlimited. I am your man, Wasted Talent. This is Mo Morton. And yo, I can't not say Morton. I can't say Moton. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a black thing. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a black thing. A lot of people throw that R in there because that's the more common version of my name. Not version, but that's the more common last name. But for people that want to know how to pronounce it, Moton is very simple. No R, no L, no. Bro, it's not Malone.
I'm getting old. It's like my mother. My mother can't say Walmart. She has to say Walmarts. She has to say Targets. And listen, if you know that if you from the Northeast and your mother is from down south, she say McDonald's instead of McDonald's.
Yep. Because my family's from South Carolina, so I totally get it.
They say, listen, y'all, we ain't got no damn McDonald's up here, you know. Hey, but Mo, man, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you too, man.
Take it easy, bro.
All right, you too.
All right, everybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off. I'm a boomer. I can't find everything, but thank y'all for pulling up on me, man. And I hope to see y'all on the next episode.